All right, we are back, Facebook Live. Thanks for joining us. We have Alisa Clamen in studio with us, a Jesse Galganov story, continuing your search. Thank you so much for coming in on a Sunday, and hopefully we can get the word out and spread the word and the incredible work you're doing, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
We should be on very shortly.
Yeah. I was asking about the phone.
The device.
Yeah,
It's a stylish device. It's going to be named after Jesse.
Okay, no, but I meant, what is it like when Jesse goes to Israel? What's it called?
It's a garment in reach, but it's through Magnus.
Magnus.
Because she's moving to Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she'll become a resident. She can get it through them.
Okay.
I'm going to do the North American market.
Right. You are.
That'll be very
I'm going to
good.
give you the contact information for Magnus. Yeah. I can explain to you the difference between getting it from Garmin and getting it from them. I could give you very detailed information.
You probably won't be able to hear. We picked 2 songs.
You can just hear me through the earphones
If you want to hear. It's just to listen to the songs. The rest you don't need it. So,
Here we go.
Bridge Over Troubled Water, first one.
That's Jesse's
Is it?
Garfunkel song.
Oh.
Really? Yes. Did an analysis of it for her.
And welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. My name is Matt Del Vecchio, specializing in free retirement home search and senior transition support.
And I'm Corey Serrata, clinical social worker and psychotherapist specializing in grief, loss, and bereavement.
Corey, been looking forward to this segment for a long, long time.
I know you have, but before we start, Matt, you are so famous.
Oh,
But not only you and your wife. I love you, Stephanie. You are the bomb, Stephanie. The two of you on, what was it, the Westmount Neighbors magazine?
Yeah, we're very, very grateful. We got featured for what we do in our real life, which is supporting seniors in their transitions from downsizing to maybe finding residences or even nursing homes at the extreme levels. So very blessed to be featured in Westmount Magazine. This was out this week, and so thank you for mentioning that.
It was so beautiful, and also I should mention Zola. Because Zola was there too. The beautiful dog. What is it? A dope?
Yeah, it's a great day.
Great day,
And as we mentioned before, I'm going through this. Just had surgery, and she's 120 pounds, and usually I've got walking dog duty, so this has been a bit of a challenge. So we've been out in the backyard running around with her, throwing the ball, getting her exercise in.
Well, it was wonderful to see all 3 of you on the cover of a magazine.
Thank you, Corey.
I'm so proud of you guys. So, on a much less light note, but a very important note, I have in studio Alisa Clamen. On September 24th, 2017, Jesse Galganov left home for an 8-month backpacking trip through South America and Southeast Asia. He was last seen on October 1st, 2017, in the mountains of northern Peru. Jesse's mother, Alisa Clamen, has left no stone unturned in an effort to find him. Today, Alisa joins us in studio to share her experience. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
None of this is easy. With my high, perky voice, I feel like how do I do this? How can we begin this interview? Please explain how this nightmare happened.
So, as you said, Jesse left on September the 24th. It was a trip that he had planned in between undergrad and med school. He deferred for a year. And we planned it meticulously, 8 months through South America and Southeast Asia, with a stop in India for a friend's wedding. It was planned accordingly. And the last time I heard from him was September the 28th. He texted me that he'd be going on a trek, and he would not be in touch until October the 2nd. I geolocated him on my Find a Friends. He was in Juarez, Peru. I didn't know at the time what trek he was going on, although he told his friends. And I didn't hear from him on October the 2nd, but I didn't want to be a helicopter parent, so I let it go for a few days. I had some information that I thought meant that he was okay on October the 7th, when we thought he bought something from Apple, but it turned out to have been an error. I gave it one more week, and on October the 14th, when I determined that Apple did not sell him the item on the 2nd of October, it was on the 28th of September, I reported him missing to the Canadian Embassy first, and then to the police station to trigger Interpol, and to the U.S. Embassy as well, because he's a dual citizen. And that's when the search started.
So Alisa Clamen talking about the disappearance of her son Jesse on a trip to Peru. So you mentioned this now. I can't imagine panic mode. You're reaching out to whoever you can, and you just went into survival mode and search mode, and it has been so extensive. Can you tell us about some of the searches that have been done so far?
Well, first I'm going to tell you that I would not be anywhere without my friends, because when I had to go to the police station, I called Patty, who's sitting here, and said, "Where are you? Can you come with me to the police station?" And then she stayed with me, other friends who did the same. I wouldn't have known what to do after calling the embassies, but one of Jesse's best friends, Dylan Garber, his mother, Anne-Marie Boucher, called me and said, "I'm supposed to go to Lima with my son, Dylan, in 3 days. We're going to go to Lima." So she flew with me to Lima. She hired Garda International, the first company that I used to manage the search. They didn't really manage the search. They managed media. They managed the embassies. They had contacts. It was an ex-FBI agent who was in charge of our case, and he is the one who got the embassies to react and got the governments to pay attention. I flew to Peru with Anne-Marie on the 16th and met with both governments, and then she couldn't continue on with me. I went to Peru and then started the search teams. So we had many local search teams. We did river searches, we did mountain searches. The police did some searches, but then we thought that there was criminal activity, so there was filed charges against a hostile owner, because we didn't know that he was on the mountain. We didn't ever actually know he was on the mountain because there's no registration records that were kept, and I can go into what I'm doing about that when we talk about updates, but yeah, Patty came to Peru.
It's so extensive, so thorough, and yet here you are.
Dog searching.
You mentioned what was helpful in that you talked about the support of your friends, no question, and the outpour of support from a number of people.
Okay.
What about what's not been helpful?
What's not been helpful? The government systems. So I've met many of the employees with both the Canadian, the US, and the Peruvian governments, the ambassadors and the consuls, and they're all very nice. My MP, Anthony Housefather, has been great. The government system has to change. The consular services offered, they can't do anything really. They can't put boots on the ground. They can't participate. Peru begged Canada, begged the US to help them with resources for the search. They just can't. They're not allowed to, and they don't really offer any assistance other than liaising with diplomats from the other countries. And it's not the people who I've met fault. It's just the way the government is structured. Israel has a very different system, as I've learned, and I wish we had that model.
So Alisa Clamen talking about her continued search for her son, Jesse Galganov, and you've had some challenging meetings after meetings with government in particular. The incredible support that you've seen from the community, from many people and organizations, have been helpful, haven't they?
Helpful. I wouldn't be able to do this without them. The search has exceeded $2 million US. I think we've raised at this point about 1.4 million Canadian through the Missing Children's Fund. Pina Arcamoni, the director, has been administering it through GoFundMe. One of Jesse's friends, Ben Bright, set it up initially. I've done some Facebook fundraisers. I've liquidated everything. But I couldn't not do that. I couldn't not do that because I can't ask someone to give money if I'm not getting money. So I'm not resentful of doing that. But I wouldn't have been able to continue the search without everyone, without $5 donations, bar mitzvah kids giving their bar mitzvah money, the gyms doing fundraisers, it takes a village, there's so many fundraising sites, and everyone is just, they want to help.
I'm sure it's so incredible. I am sure that they do that. I'm curious, and we want to hear about that, about some more about the help, and we know there's a lot of initiatives, and we're going to hear about that after the traffic.
Yeah, because it's continuing.
Yeah,
right? It's just ongoing.
continuing.
You're survival mode, and it won't stop. It can't stop.
I need to bring them home.
That's right. So we also want to hear about him. So we promised that we would have that discussion. So we are going to have to go up to traffic. But when we come back, we're going to hear about who Jesse was. So here's Carrie Yeager at the traffic center. Oh, I didn't know that she dated me to say that. So not going on. I'm going to say something.
Okay, good.
Just ramble.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
sorry.
No.
That'd be
Very
fabulous.
good, because it's
Yeah.
you're holding your emotions, but you could feel
Yeah.
you could feel
You
the
have to hold
emotions.
them.
It's
You
good
have to
for
hold
you.
them.
Yeah, you're
Otherwise
strong.
I'll just
You're strong.
crack.
Now we're going to see where we've got like 6 minutes.
Okay.
It goes super quick.
Okay.
Okay, so
Got it.
what people need to know about Jesse, you'll come
Yes.
on
I will come
about
back
that,
and ask
Jesse?
that.
and then we might get a quick one about next steps.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Quick.
And then we got to talk about the bazaar.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Do it fast.
And then at around 55 and a half, 56,
Okay.
contact info again. We'll repeat for the bazaar, and then we got to do a couple teasers for next week's show.
Got it.
All right. Good. Great. You're doing great. Holding up great.
You okay?
Fantastic.
I'm kind of almost over.
Yeah. See how fast it goes? You can't believe it.
I know.
We're not asking you something that you don't know, but are also
No, but I don't even
talking
answer what I
about-
think I'm going to answer.
No, it's
Whatever comes out of my mouth is what
Hey
comes out of my
Phyllis,
mouth.
we see you there. Danya, thanks for watching. Got people are piling in here. Alisa. Amazing.
So,
Andrew, Andrew Potter. Andrew,
oh yeah. But I think we talked about how it's different interviews based on where you are at right now, and part of we wanted to go through the story, but it's now about the next steps, and that's what and letting people know what you need and why and where you're at.
So Jesse, and then next steps, and then the
No,
bazaar.
Jesse next up. No, Jesse next up.
Yeah. Is there anything after the bazaar?
Yeah.
I mean, because
sure,
you must
do that.
always have to.
Well, the
The
next
actor.
thing is I'm doing a vernissage of Jesse's art and philanthropy. He was a Movember star, and he made amazing posts and videos, and he had a whole portfolio that I had framed with conservation framing. It's all going to be triggered tomorrow, so
Wow.
I'll send you guys
So-
an invitation, and you'll see it's at LCC. They're turning the gym for Jesse for 3
Excellent.
days.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
So we should try to get a mention of that if we
Oh my
can.
god, if he did a whole
Who
November
is-
thing, I want that
feel
all
like
over
this
my
is this
thing
your
also.
part?
Oh, it was,
No,
he
it's
was
a
top
two-week
fundraiser
night.
for
Two-week.
Oh my
Movember,
god,
and
I
it was
want
top
to do a
most
whole
space.
thing of that too.
And he did a Bohemian Rhapsody
Oh, yeah?
6-minute video that's going to be shown on one screen. And he did these amazing posts with these crazy pictures for 5 years.
Oh my god, I want to do a whole
5
thing of
years.
that too.
They had a Let's Mow for Jesse event, a party on my birthday. That was they raised $10,000 in his name, all his friends, because they all posted and they shared his posts.
That's crazy.
And there was 3 adults at that party, like adults.
Right.
Me, Jesse's girlfriend's mother, and the LCC lunch lady, who no longer was Jesse, who has done the translate for everything
Oh.
since the beginning.
Did he go to LCC?
Yes,
Yeah?
and for you. Yeah.
I went to Loyola. So
Well, he played hockey.
Rivals.
At Loyola.
Sure, must have. Big rivals.
Yeah, he got a concussion in 2012. And it changed his life.
Really?
But
In hockey?
Football.
Football.
He was a captain of the football team. The rugby team. Yeah, he was quite a
That's good. That's my wife here.
Royal Lepage Village. I understand the stress
Go,
and
Stephanie.
anxiety seniors experience.
But so he was an athlete, football
He
guy.
was an athlete. He was an artist. He
So
was
that has to come out, right? That's
Renaissance man. That's what one of his teachers at LCC called him.
Hmm.
He didn't know what it meant. I didn't either. We looked it up.
there you go. And he was going into
Yeah,
was
right.
medicine in Philadelphia. I read, right?
Sigma Chemical Medical College, Thomas Jefferson. When he got accepted, he asked for a deferral, and they said the dean wrote back and said, "Jesse, we want you to come when you want to come."
Oh, really?
I wish he'd never written that.
Yeah. What if
Wow.
I should have, right?
God, what if I should?
Yeah.
What if I should?
So the next song, so Bridge Over Troubled Water. I didn't know that. So
He did
that,
an analysis of it for a course at LCC.
really.
For poetry
And
course.
Oh, really?
And
next one is Calling All Angels by Train. Is that-
nice song.
should be coming soon. Here we go. You're coming back.
Just to remind me. Welcome. Welcome back. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Corey Sirota with my co-host Matt Del Vecchio, and we are talking with Alisa Clamen about the disappearance of her son, Jesse Galganov, on a hiking trip in Peru, and where we're at right now. Right before traffic, I asked a very important question that I really can't wait to hear about. Tell me about Jesse.
Jesse, I don't know how to use past or present tense, so I'm just going to say Jesse was my son, my best friend, my confidant, an incredibly empathetic, intuitive, artistic, scientific, athletic kid who had the most amazing group of friends. He was the lion for his friends. He's the one who kept everyone together and took care of everyone and just wanted to make sure that everyone was happy, including me and his sister and everybody in the world. And that's why when this happened, no one could actually believe it, because he's the one that everyone would go to if they needed help. And he's also the one that would never want money spent on him to find him, and would never want to be the center of attention. I got a tattoo of him on my back. He would be mortified if he knew that. Really. But he was just that kid. And his friends worked. From the minute I left for Peru, they created their own war room. So while I was doing the search with the teams in Peru, they created this war room at the Garber's house, and they all worked on it 24/7. They created the timeline. When this case went to Magnus, November the 6th, when we knew that the first team was just not, they were out of their depths, they were a kidnapping team, and he wasn't kidnapped. They just said, we've never had preparation like this, ever, because Jesse's friends. And they all said, how is it that 22-year-olds are doing this work that police detectives should be doing? And I said, I don't know, just do it. And they all did it. They all did it. We had them working on the Apple stuff. They worked on the Google. They figured out the geolocation of Google, and they created these timelines with hypothesis and everything. So it's his friend. So that's what he was just an amazing kid, and he just wanted to see more cultures, and he wanted to be off the grid a little bit because school was high pressure, and he had published a paper. He didn't even know it was published. It was published after he disappeared. But that was what he worked on at the end, and his girlfriend was in New York, and he'd been commuting to see her, and he was going to move to Philadelphia, and it was going to be medical school with 1 weekend off per month, and it was stress. It was all stress, and he just wanted to go out into nature and carry 24 pounds with him and see the world.
Listening to Life Unrehearsed, that's Jesse Galganov's mother, Alisa Clamen. You talked about he was scheduled to go to medical school in Philadelphia, I think, in about a year, and an incredible gentleman, and obviously resonate with a lot of friends and his buddies. It's not ending, it's continuing. What are some of the next steps, Alisa?
So Magnus, I have absolute certainty that Magnus will figure this out.
So Magnus, just for everyone to know,
Magnus is the Israeli search company that I hired November 6th of 2017. We've drone coverage of the entire mountain. We've done a remote operated vehicle search of all the water bodies. They've done extensive intelligence. Where we are right now, they've created a covert operation, because that's what we need to do. And tomorrow I'm going to sue the administration of the park because it's not a safe place for travelers. It was not being manned. They provided forgeries of lists. There's criminal activity that's related to this disappearance. I don't know if there's criminal activity related to his potential death or not, but certainly to the disappearance of his body. So I'm going to sue them, and I'm going to try to make this place safer.
So that in itself is such an important and huge, gargantuan initiative that you feel so compelled to do it. I can see the passion in you in making sure that we can't change what happened, but we can moving forward, ensure that other children traveling, and I call them children because they're our kids, are safe. You're also doing a whole host of other things to ensure his legacy continues. And can you speak about, I know there's some fundraisers coming up, I think it's important people know.
Okay, important fundraiser, Help Us Find Jesse event, bazaar being held in Côte St. Luc next week on the 17th. We're selling all kinds of things, new things, old things, high-end items, upscale items. I just need people to come and buy because I need to raise more money, because I still have to pay Magnus for the last phase and for the ongoing phase. We're going to be having a vernissage of Jesse's art and philanthropy at Lower Canada College, because he was a very talented artist, and I had everything framed with conservation framing at Gemst. Thank you, Elder Gemst. And he was a Movember top fundraiser because that was his passion, men's mental health and prostate cancer, things that people don't talk about. Jesse always said mustaches start conversations. And there have been tributes to him. There was a Mo for Jesse event last year. But I'm going to do a lot of things. But one thing I'm really going to do is I'm bringing the Magnus satellite device to Canada and to the US because I want travelers, kids, to be safe, but I want their parents to have peace of mind because I don't want anyone ever to go through what I'm going through.
And very quickly, what is that device? What does it do?
It's a sat device that can geolocalize you anywhere. It has an SOS button that if you press it, it will be connected to Magnus. And Magnus does the event and crisis management. They will figure out where you are, what you need, and they will get it to you. If it's a helicopter, they'll get it to you.
So I don't doubt that you're going to do it because this is who you are, clearly.
Determined.
And
Good for
determined
you.
is a tremendous adjective to describe. Thank you so much for your heartfelt, honest recap of where you are and where you're going. We're going to post those sites for the Bazaar, etc., on our Life on Rehearse
Thank you.
Facebook page.
Thank you.
Other than that, how can people donate to your cause?
So there's a Missing Children Fund. If you want a tax receipt, you can go to Missing Children's Fund. I'll give the link. Jesse Galganov Fund that has been now in existence for 17 months. There's a GoFundMe page. Same thing as Help Us Find Jesse. It's actually gofundme.com/helpusfindjesse. I've done some Facebook fundraisers. I don't think they're active now, but GoFundMe and Missing Children's Fund and all of the money that goes in goes straight to the search.
Thank you
Lisa,
so
thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate everything that you've shared with us today, and
Thank you for
wish you the
making it
best
easy.
of luck moving forward. Next week on Life Unrehearsed, not only is it St. Patrick's Day, but we're also celebrating our 100th episode of Life Unrehearsed. We'll be doing so with the Executive Director of the Douglas Foundation, Laura Fish.
Yeah, can't wait to have Laura Fish on our 100th show, Corey. And we'll also be talking to a fascinating couple who truly took living their dreams to a whole new level by becoming managers of a safari lodge, believe it or not, in Kobe National Park in South Africa. An incredible story. That will be next Sunday, 4 p.m., where you could hear us on Life Unrehearsed every Sunday on CJD 800. Thanks for listening. Whew. Way to go. Incredible. You held up. A quick goodbye and thank you. Thank you, Patty. Joy, thank you. Alisa.
She did it.
Thank you. Great job. Fantastic. Strong. Thanks for joining us.